difference between self-publishing your book and getting it published through a publisher. I have so far 40 published books. I've wrote all of them. I had 6 books that came out in 2016 during 1 year. So I did produce a lot of books. And I was lucky enough, or I worked enough to get both ways. So self-published and also getting a publisher to buy and even order a lot of my books. Order meaning having me write stuff that I thought would sell and him just editing and publishing my work. Because my first book sold so much that they were ready to take about anything that I was writing. So that's very fortunate. It's also because I can see trends, I know what's going to sell, and that's my forte. But regardless, the question here is what should you do? Should you go after a publisher to get your books published officially by a big time publisher, or should you self publish your book on Amazon? So I'm going to weigh the pros and cons since I've seen both sides of the coin. And I'd say in both cases, so no matter what you choose, you have to build a platform. What I mean by platform, you have to build fans, followers, you have to have a website, a subscription button, a funnel, which means, and I can make other videos about funnels and how to build them and all of that, because I built quite a few of my own. Which is great because it creates automated sales systems where basically you earn money while you sleep. It's cash machines, right? I have a bunch of those. The first one that I created, I actually made because I had my first book published and was a $250 investment. I made 250,000 within 1 year. So I know what I'm talking about when it comes to funnels, but here so the difference is no difference in the amount of fans, followers, subscribers you want to have on your list. Lists are gold. So you want to have always have a subscription button, have people subscribe to your list, offer something for free, even if it's a 10 pager that's very attractive to your targeted audience. That's number one. Either way, you need to have a platform and fans and followers and a Facebook page, etc., etc. Number two, you need to know what the end result is. So in both cases, it's very important to know who your target audience is. So you first have to create a marketing plan. You have to start with the end result. A lot of writers are very creative. They write to write and never get published and like don't understand why their book is never sold and poor me. But actually it's because they didn't do the thing the proper way in today's market with the competition that there is out there. And if you really want to have the opportunity to upsell, to actually make money with your book, because that's kind of the idea, then you want to know why you're writing that book, who is your targeted audience, who you're going to speak to while writing, so that actually there's a message and also a connection to potentially the upsell, potentially what you're going to sell them after, whether it's a coaching program, a digital product, a one-on-one session, a huge conference, an event, whatever it is. You need to have that in mind. You need to know who you are writing for, who is going to read you, what is their big problem, what is their ache, what are you going to solve, what problem are you going to solve with the book. And here I'm not speaking about novels, although even novels solve a problem, but that's not the question here. So the question is really about business books. And you can write a business book if you're a lawyer, if you're a dentist, if you're a doctor, a surgeon, a plastic surgeon, a real estate agent, a financial planner. You actually, I really encourage you to write a book. A book will change your life and It will change your business from A to Z. So in both cases, you need to have the end result in mind, know why you're writing your book, who you're writing your book for, who's going to read you, because your message is going to be targeting those people, and you're going to be solving a problem through the book. That's the idea. It's to explain to them, this is a problem, this is how you solve it, you do this and that, or super lots of examples of how other people solved it so that they can solve a problem. That's the whole point of a business book. And inside, you can hint to your bigger product, you can hint on your resume on who you are, so that, with the book, it helps you sell more stuff and get notoriety and become an authority figure because of your book. So that's really important. So now let's go into the details of the differences. So the third, which is now becoming a difference, the publisher will ask for everything I just said. So they will ask for a marketing plan. They will ask to know who your targeted audience is. They will ask to know what your platform is. They will ask to know how many followers, fans, what you built in the past. Did you sell any copies of your books? And when I mean sell, I mean a lot of copies. So if you pass all of those tests and they take your book to publish it, what they're basically doing is they're mitigating their risks, because they're thinking, all right, so I can basically publish this person's book because they've already done their platform, they've already done everything in the past, and now I'm gonna take this less risky book because they have so many people that actually, want them to publish their work, because it gives you kind of an extra notoriety to be published by. It used to, now less, because less people now know of the publishers' brands like they used to. In the past, there were like 4 or 5 huge brands in terms of publishers, the big publishers that gave you your notoriety. But nowadays, it's less. I don't think it has that much value or that much credibility. If the book is good, if the title grabs the attention, if the solution in the book is good enough, don't worry, you'll sell your book and you'll sell your product. So I don't think that having a huge publisher behind you now does the work, because now the publishers are actually asking you to do a lot of the work before they take on a project. So let's say they do take on a project and they do publish it. What's going to happen is they're going to write you a contract, and they're probably going to give you anywhere from 4 to 25% of the sales, which might amount to very little money. So the good aspect of having a publisher is that publishers can actually print the books in advance, thousands of copies, and they're going to put them in all brick and mortar businesses, which nowadays, again, is it now really important to have your book in, a superstore on street, when you have places like Amazon where everybody, a lot of people buy their books? Do you want to, is it absolutely necessary to be in a Barnes and Nobles today? That's a question you need to ask yourself. Do I want to give away, um, you know, 70% of what I make on the book just because it's a big name publisher that's going to place me in, that's going to sell my book, the hard copy or the paperback, into a brick and mortar? So that's a question you need to ask, because when you're self-published, it's quasi impossible to get in your book into a brick and mortar. It's not impossible, but it's quasi impossible. So the good aspect of having a publisher is that they will bring your book into brick and mortar. And as you may know, to get a New York Times bestseller, well, that's how it used to be. You used to have to be in a brick and mortar to get a New York Times bestseller, because it's the reports of who's been selling the most throughout the brick and mortar that got you that title. And having that title, as you know, is huge, because then you're no longer John Doe dentist. You're not even longer John Doe dentist, author of. you're suddenly John, well, you're not no longer John Doe, you're suddenly Mr. Someone who has a New York Times bestseller. Suddenly your credibility went way up. But already being John Doe writer, author of, brings your credibility and your notoriety very high. Although there's a ways to even circumvent the New York Times bestseller. There's secrets to how to get a New York Times bestseller without um, waiting to get the New York Times bestseller. But that's another story. That's the little inside secrets on how a lot of people get their title of being a New York Times bestseller without actually um, having having skipped a few steps, to say the least. So on the other hand, if you're self-published, well, then you basically keep 100% of your book, right? So if you've done all the work of building your platform, of having tons of followers that are already passionate about what you do, of having like these YouTube videos, of having people who follow you, who like what you do, post, Instagram, etc., there's a lot of chances that a publisher will knock on your door because they see the value of selling since you're already a rock star. So in that case, you really have to question yourself what you want to do and what your business plan is to go with a publisher or go on your own, because you might just as well be a rock star selling 1 million copies of your book on your own and keep 100% of equity, 100% of the profits from your book. Whereas you go with a big known publisher, yeah, they're going to bring your book in all the brick and mortar. You're going to have that name associated to your book. They're going to, of course, book you to book signing events, etc. Although today, again, we don't know how that's going to evolve in our day and age. Um, it might completely change the world of signing books in the future. So and is that something that's super important to you? Events are yes, massive, because it brings a lot of crowd to find out about your book. But isn't there another way to maybe invest what you're selling, reinvest what you're selling in advertising and getting PR agencies interested in you? And again, it all comes back to the traffic that you're having. It all comes back to the message that you built. It all comes back to the platform that you created. If that is rock solid and your funnel is rock solid, you might just not need a publisher. There's a third in between kind of solution that I'm part of, and a lot of other, there's a few, not a lot, but there's a few other publishing companies that do this, is basically offering both worlds. So they publish your book like a publisher, a real, we publish like a hard copy, we do the publishing work, we put it in stores, but we charge a fee so to kind of balance the risk factor and the investment factor of getting you there, so that you sell copies. And I go a little further. What I do for people who want to write a business book, I basically take them by the hand through the entire process. So from building the platform, building the funnel, creating the notoriety aspects, helping them write a book, or having a team write the book for them. Because as you know, the real rock stars out there, the real superstars, don't write their book. They're not book authors. Whether it's a doctor, the doctor feels to be extreme, but the doctors of the non-doctors of this world, but all the people that really have a huge following, or are superstars, NBA or whatever, they're not there to sit down and write their book, right? They hire ghostwriters that do the job. So my process is really to bring someone from zero to where they want to be in lightning speed. And I do that also by publishing the work in hard copies, making a virtual event for the book, creating webinars to help the person. And even I go even further. I help individuals create their digital products, their digital courses, their digital things that they can upsell the book afterwards, so that there is a huge package behind. And that way your company is really, when you launch, you have this I'd say this greater vision of what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I hope this helps a little clarify the difference between being self-published and being published by a publisher. And also be careful if you do publish on your own with Amazon. Publishers, the big houses, dislike profoundly seeing already the work out there. So you might lose the publisher just because of that, unless you sold mega amount of copies, in which case they will publish your work and consider taking you in for that book and perhaps the next book as well. Do they give you mega advances? Because that's also a myth. Is do publishers give a lot of advances? They will do that if you're a superstar, if you're already known, if you have a huge following, if you've already written New York Times bestseller. Like if you're a rock star, yes, they're gonna give you a mass advance. If you're a nobody, you're not going to get a lot of events because they're taking all the risk for you of bringing you out there. And also with publishers, as you may know, you might need to have an agent representing you because a lot of publishers do not accept unsolicited material. So you might have a problem there to get to the publisher. So if you need more information, please go on my website. It's above or below slavikabogdanov.com. I hope this helps you. Please leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel, share the video. Maybe other authors or other business individuals would like to know. And I hope to meet with you and speak with you about your needs in terms of publishing your business book. Thank you.